All right, so what's up, everybody? It's your boy Anime Shine here in the building, and today I want to talk to you guys about one of these shows I just recently finished. As you couldn't tell by the background, yes, I just finished Clevatess, and boy, let me tell you, that show was popping. It was a lot more than what I was expecting, but it was a really good ride. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So first things first that I want to talk about this series is the world building. Surprisingly, for as only being a 12 episode season, we got a lot of world building within this season. So explaining the different races around the world and how they kind of play and how they're surrounded by the darkness and all these dark beasts that are around them and how they've been isolated, pretty much not able to see the world, and how the dark beasts have been just luring over them the whole time. We're able to see them encountering a dark beast for the first time, as that's how our main story starts to unfold. And it really just gets to like what the heroes are about, the legend behind them, what they mean to the world, and you really get that throughout the story. And so I think it does a really good job at fleshing things out, and it doesn't feel rushed, it doesn't feel crammed, which give a lot of props to this series for doing. So now something else that I like about the show Clevatess is the overall tone that it has. So this show, for those that haven't seen it, it has a darker tone to it. So it just feels like it's just very eerie. It has this filter over it that looks like it's like a mature show. It's pretty gory when it comes to the action. There's a lot of blood within it. And it's not just like unwanted, just unnecessary goriness. The goriness goes with the story and what's happening within the moment, and it all makes sense because it's more of like a real life battle that ensues within it. So I do like the fact that it does have the darker tones, and it makes everything feel more serious. You can actually feel the weight of the show when a situation is happening. So when people are being held as slaves, or when people are in a fight, and everything just feels like, oh my god, like they have to lock in, otherwise somebody really might not make it out of it. So I really like how they did that. And then when you first come across the heroes and they're coming up to actually fight one of the demon beasts or the dark beasts, and then you just think that, all right, these are the best of the best. They're about to actually go down and do work. Well, it comes to find out, these dark beasts are no joke, especially the kings of them, the top of the top. And they just get, the way that they get taken out is just brutal. And I like the way that they show that. They held no punches with that. So which goes into the next attribute that I like about the show overall is the action that comes with it. I'm not going to sit here and say it has the best overall action like Dragon Ball or Naruto, but it does have some really good fights in it, and the fights make sense within the show. And they do have some good animation overall. So things are good. You can see things clearly. Choreography is not all the way there. I'm not even to say that it's bad as far as like it just looks choppy, but it's just that the fights aren't necessarily as long paced as they are in some of these other shows. So the fights that you do get, they're just going to be more of actually just launching the attacks or swinging the sword. And so they do it pretty well. And so I like it for it, and then it goes with the story. So a fight is always better and elevated when the story matches the overall like lining with it. So then that you get the feel from the situation into the battle. So I like the way that they did that with this show too. And when it comes to the characters within the show, the characters that we do meet throughout the journey thus far, has some really great character development. So, for instance, one of the characters that Clevatess had ended up reviving, she was a slave within this compound of these bandits, and she's been with them for essentially her whole life. Even her parents or her mom was there within this slave camp as well. And so she really didn't have a purpose. She didn't know exactly what she was able to do. And her mom has actually been holding off a lot of these raiders and from her throughout the time that she was alive, until the point where she could no longer do it because she kept getting beat up and kicked around, and they were treating her poorly. So her mom ended up dying. And so when her mom died, the raiders, they started to come to her. And so now she had to deal with all this punishment and harsh behavior and in this environment. And so she was dealing with it. She was holding her head down and she was doing the work, but she found that there really wasn't a purpose for her in life. And she was not really willing to continue to keep going on. And she just found herself worthless. But then she found that she was able to do something, which was feeding babies. So when babies would come through and didn't have a mother to continue to feed them when they were young, she found that she was able to do that. And so she found that and grasped onto that purpose and clung onto life so then that she can stick around and continue to help these babies that would come through that had no parents. And so she found that new purpose and held on, and then eventually ended up meeting Clevatess, and then she told her story to Clevatess, and then he freed her. So overall, I would give this a solid rating of an 8. So out of a scale of up to 10, I give it a solid 8. It's a good show. I'd recommend it to anybody that comes across. You want to look for action, good story, darker setting and tone. This would be the show to go to. I would even argue that this would probably be a good, not necessarily a first anime, but once you've watched a couple of anime and kind of know what anime is about, then this would be a good jump into after that point. This would be like that next step. So it's a really great watch. So anybody out there looking for a new show to watch that hasn't come across this yet, it's a really good show, and it's in both sub and dub. So you can watch the whole season like that. So thank you for watching the video. Please don't forget to like the video and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you want to talk about next. And I appreciate you guys for coming and watching the video. And until next time, peace.